Stimulus is the one word other than vaccine that we get asked about most here at WFMY News 2. We know you have questions and we are working to get you answers. Scott Braddock from Scott Braddock Financial and Mark Hensley from AARP NC Triad Region are our experts today. You can text questions to us and we will relay them to them. 336-379-5775 is that number. I know that you might be tempted to call it. Do not call that number. You've got to send a text message with your question. Now, one thing everyone needs to know, today is the deadline for the IRS to send out stimulus checks to those who qualify. If you don't receive your stimulus payment, guys, what will you need to do?
Well, if you don't receive your stimulus payment, it may be because you did not file your taxes for 2019. So you may have to wait. If you don't receive your stimulus check probably by next week, because the deadline for the checks to go out was actually today. So what you can do is you can claim this credit on your tax returns. This is the recovery rebate credit. And specifically, this is going to be found on line 30 of your tax return. Now, some good news that has come out is you can file your taxes now as early as February the 12th. So that should help folks that don't receive it here by now or next week.
And from what I understand, today they actually pushed back that deadline. The IRS did for filing taxes. Do you know why they did that?
Well, I believe that's because folks are really needing some extra time to sort of put things together, and I'm happy to see that because I've met with a lot of folks that are going to need that extra time, and they want to make sure that they do their taxes correctly. They don't miss any of the credits that have been given. It's going to be very important that folks take advantage of what they can when they file their taxes this year.
So what would you say is the one thing, because we get so many phone calls and so many emails to Two Wants to Know, what is the one thing, or I guess the first step that someone should do if they haven't received that money?
Mark?
So Chad, let me start off by saying a lot of older adults, older Americans, don't file taxes. They get Social Security, their income is low enough, they haven't filed taxes in years. I'm getting this question a lot. There is a specific form, it is the 1040 SR, and that is a specific short form for senior citizens, and that's the way it's labeled, is non-filing seniors to fill that form out. Again, as Scott said, it's line 30 on this form as well, to put in for this cash payment rebate. And then that will come in the form of a refund from the IRS once taxes are filed using that 1040 SR.
And for people who did receive their stimulus payments and they are getting ready to file their taxes, is there anything that you have to do on this year's tax form because of the stimulus?
Well, you do want to go ahead and acknowledge how much you received, because it is a credit. So we do want to acknowledge how much recovery rebate credit you received. However, what's important, and I get this question a lot, is that we're not going to pay taxes on this money. This is a tax-free credit that they're actually giving us as in a cash format here in advance for our 2020 tax filing. So what folks need to know as well is that when you go ahead and put your taxes together, if you're anticipating a refund and you hadn't received your rebate or your stimulus yet, this will be in addition to what you're planning to get back. Now, if you owe the IRS, and this is important because a little detail here, is that if you owe the IRS when you file your 2020 taxes, this stimulus payment will go towards the tax that you owe.
Someone texted us saying, you know, considering that this is the deadline here, she said she and her husband didn't receive the check or the card. She's wondering whether there are delays because of mail delays that we've heard about over the past couple of months.
So Scott and I were just talking about this. There's actually about 8 million stimulus payments that are going out in the form of a debit card. So anything that was deployed today in the form of a check or a debit card, I would give it, we were just talking about, give it to the end of next week, but you're going to have until February the 12th before you can actually claim that on your taxes. So we've got some time here to let the mail process out. We also know that filers who used H&R Block and some other programs that actually were using the H&R Block and other tax national preparers bank accounts for their refund. A lot of those stimulus payments went to H&R Block, and a lot had to be sent back. So in those cases, now that the clock has run out, if any of those situations happen, the way to catch it up and to get what's deserving to you is through filing your 2020 taxes.
So if you are a customer of H&R Block and you haven't received that money yet, you should assume that is what happened to your money.
Well, you can actually
It's a pretty good assumption, wouldn't you say, Scott?
Yes, a good idea though is check your tax returns from last year or 2019 and see what bank account number is on file there. And if it isn't yours, then more than likely that's what took place. And this also happened with TurboTax as well. And they anticipate that everyone that whose stimulus check went to their bank because they used their refund to pay their taxes, they'll receive their money. They're taking care of it. So they're on top of it, and that's good news.
I'm glad that you brought up about bank account numbers. We've had a lot of people reach out to us saying that they looked to see where the payment was going and it was somebody else's bank account. Now that doesn't mean that it was just another person's bank account. You know, they shouldn't be too worried.
Well, that does happen. I don't think I would be too worried. It wasn't a major concern there, and so that I would take that advice and just look at your last taxes that you filed and see if the account number that you're seeing matches up with what's on your tax filing, and then that will give you some peace of mind that that's what happened.
This is a
and
question.
You will receive your money.
Okay, this is a question that a lot of people have been wondering, and you can't really overstate it. Someone says, we have not gotten our stimulus check. Is there some way we can check to see if it was mailed out?
That's a great question. So Chad, you can still go to irs.gov and click that button, Get My Payment. And we've had people say, well, I get back a message that says not enough information. I actually have tested this, and I see where 2 payments have been made to me with all of the information. So go and check your status. If a payment has gone out to you that's still in the mail, it should be listed there that when the IRS has sent out your direct payment from the U.S. Treasury.
Okay, we have been getting a lot of questions, and they're still coming in. If you've got questions, make sure you let us know. You can send them in a text message to 336-379-5775. We'll be back with these 2 gentlemen in just a couple minutes.